Alright guys, why RuneScape's most loved moderator went rogue. Let's check it out.
RuneScape's most beloved Jagex moderator. He's made some of the game's best content over his almost 20 years at the company.
Jeez, bro. He's looking to retire soon, man. That's quite a lot of years, man, not gonna lie.
So, what upset him enough to write articles like Reasons to Hate Jagex on the game's most popular fan site, and
what?
How did
No way he wrote that, guys. He's gotta be trolling.
Jagex react when they found out? Our story begins in what
I'm sure he wrote it in a lighthearted way, guys. There's no way he did that. No way he did that.
most people refer to as the Golden Age of RuneScape, 2007.
The Golden Age!
Clans had massive battles in the wilderness every day, jaw-dropping content like the God Wars dungeon had just been released, and the community was both.
Does every video game suffer this fate, where there's just like a golden age and then it drops off? I wasn't there to experience Golden Age of Fortnite, guys. But they just re-released the Season 1 or whatever, so...
active and generous. It was a good time to be a nerd, but much like the Roman Empire and its golden age...
Oh man, with the Roman Empire references, guys. That's the same reference my teacher used, guys. And I'm willing to bet that this guy also had his teacher tell him a Roman Empire reference.
RuneScape's would also come to an end, and it...
No, we don't want RuneScape to come to an end at all, man. Alright, I'm back.
would end quickly. Players didn't know it yet, but during the seemingly perfect period of the game, Jagex was having a massive problem internally. Credit card companies were on the brink of not allowing Jagex to accept payments anymore for something that wasn't even really their fault. This is Timmy. He sucks at RuneScape, but he really wants a party hat. He knows how cool he would look and how jealous his friends would be, but he's
All right.
far from being able to afford one. He could spend hundreds of hours.
Guys, I did this back in the day. I actually asked my dad to buy like RuneScape gold for me back in the day, bros.
Grinding out money-making methods and earn one, or he could do what a lot of kids did back then. Borrow his mom's credit card and buy the gold he needs.
Well, I did borrow the credit card. I bought it to get like another rune, some more membership, guys. I probably should have borrowed it to get some gold, though.
On a gold selling
But
site.
I was like, I'll make the gold. I'll make the money myself. I just need membership.
Gold selling sites are against the game's rules, and buying gold could get his account banned, but he takes the risk anyway. He receives the gold.
My dog keeps begging, man. She keeps begging.
Buys his party hat, and everything seems awesome. Well, Timmy didn't know this, but he picked a pretty dodgy site to buy gold from. Sure, he may have gotten what he was after, but the site owner now also has his mom's credit card details.
No way, they're doing... They sold him gold and now they're scamming their credit card details, guys. What a world to live in.
The site's owner then signs up for a bunch of RuneScape accounts, buys membership on them using Timmy's mom's credit card, and starts botting on all of them to earn more gold that he can sell. Once Timmy's mom notices all of the charges, she calls up her credit card company and gets her money back. Poor Timmy.
That's savage, bro. So they're botting gold and then they're selling the gold to them and then hacking the account that they sold gold to. No, man, no. It's unhinged.
So his mom probably chewed him out for that one. Now, this wasn't just an isolated incident. This exact same process was happening hundreds of times a day, and credit card companies were pretty unhappy about it.
They're going for everybody at this point, guys. They have no care in the world, bro.
They finally told Jagex to fix it, or else they wouldn't work with them anymore. They were tired of all the chargebacks coming from their website. At the time, about 70% of RuneScape's members paid their membership each month with a credit card. So if something...
And they still take a lot of payments that are through credit card, guys.
...didn't change soon, Jagex would be put out of business.
They can't. They probably should, but it's... It's hard for them to secure like enough income to keep their company moving forward if they just cancel the like card payments and make the game free, right, guys?
Business literally overnight. But how could they fix it?
But they make the game free, then they can bring about microtransactions a lot more easily, I think.
They weren't the ones stealing the cards and didn't have the resources to shut down every gold selling site in existence. Really, they only had two options to stop these sites from operating, and neither was one that the players would even remotely like. But first, let's talk about something
RuneScape, man. We're gonna be streaming this pretty soon, guys.
You'll like. Today's sponsor, Crumb's Store. Crumb makes these fantastic resin cast RuneScape figures. They're super smooth, beautifully painted, and they're actually heavy.
Guys, he kind of like just does this as his moneymaker, his IRL moneymaker instead of RuneScape videos.
You can see and feel the quality when
No, that's Crumb. That's someone else. I apologize.
Pick one up. Now, because the quality is so high, they're only made in small batches that sell out pretty quickly. In fact, this is the first restock since last Christmas. The giant mole is already sold out and Jad is going quickly, so if you see something you like, you'll want to grab it. Like maybe their newest release, Zilliana. I personally love how much the colors pop on this one. It just looks so good. Now, they're running a promotion this week only on my channel where if you use code
The colors are popping, guys.
Code Nello20 at checkout, you'll get 20% off your order. So make sure to use my link in the description and grab one before they're gone. Now, to keep business going, Jagex either had to start selling gold themselves or remove the ability.
That's something that they have never really tried to do, guys. They never tried the first one ever in their company history, guys. Just putting that out there. You think they will? You think they won't? Let me know in the comments below.
For players to trade, so nobody could transfer gold or items between accounts. They didn't want to ruin the fun of the game by making it pay to win, so they chose to severely limit trade by making any real transfer of wealth impossible. But you could still kill someone in the wilderness and pick up their items. So the ability to fight other players in it would have to be removed too. Now, Jagex couldn't just remove what
that destroyed the game, bro.
Was at the time the game's most.
I was there when it happened, bro. There was an outrage. There's so much of outrage, man.
Most popular activity without providing some alternatives. That could do more damage than losing the credit card companies. So Jagex staff were informed by upper management about this update fairly early, so they could get some alternatives ready before the update went live. To give you an idea of how staff members felt about all this, there was a big whiteboard in Jagex's offices that listed every update that was being worked on, and the removal of the wilderness and free trade was listed as the update of Ultimate Doom. Something to keep in mind is that even today,
did they really do that, guys? No way.
Many of the
he gets like some insider information for his videos, so he's probably telling the truth here, guys.
Jagex staff members that work on the game are also RuneScape players. They know just how bad this update was going to be and hated working on it. This is where Mod Ash comes in. He had recently been promoted to the role of content developer and was handed off 2 of the 3 projects that would replace the wilderness, but not right away. First was Clan Wars, essentially a big arena where 2 clans could face off against each other.
That's one thing that did actually go through.
Sort of like what they could do in the wilderness before, except without gaining loot. Before this project made its way to Ash, a different developer was working on it, but then they left the company. Unfortunately for Ash, the project was then handed to him. It turns out the previous developer didn't really know what he was doing, and Ash had to rewrite just about everything. The second project was Revenants. They were ghosts who roamed the wilderness that would basically
this is what PKers despise the most, guys, is these revenants. It's hands down, bro. They're still in the game now, currently.
PKers. They could use all 3 combat styles, freeze you, heal themselves at low HP, and drop valuable loot. But originally, they were going to be, well, stupid. The developer who first designed them did things a little differently. Instead of revenants just roaming around the wilderness, whenever you entered the wilderness, a timer would start. When the timer hit 0, a revenant would spawn next to you and attack you.
Dang, bro. They made it a lot more savage then.
This might not sound too bad, except that the timer wasn't very long. Another revenant would likely spawn before you could kill the first one, so you'd pretty much be surrounded by ghosts at all times. This meant
For being unhinged.
you couldn't do things like mine a runite rock or read a clue scroll, and good luck trying to do the wilderness agility course. Now, the worst problem of all was if they froze you. The original developer used the wrong freeze code, so you couldn't eat while frozen. You could have a full inventory of food.
Oh gosh, bro. Early on JX mistakes, guys. Something we wouldn't know without this video, guys. And that's pretty awesome.
And all you could do was sit there and watch your character slowly die. Now, what do you think the content team manager said when he saw this heaping pile of garbage? Great, let's launch it. The guy had worked on other games before, but didn't really understand RuneScape. He saw that it seemed to do what the design document said it should do, and there was only 3 weeks until launch, so he thought it was just good to go. Luckily for us, Paul Gower, one of the co-founders of RuneScape, was also on the content team. His brother, Andrew Gower, intervened, and the project was soon passed over to Mod Ash to fix. All in all, Ash was not very happy with all this. He was working on projects he knew the players would hate. His bosses knew very
Snap, bro. This guy's probably the most loved JagX moderator to date, guys. Not gonna lie. Because he responds to everybody's questions on Twitter, if you guys don't know that. You do know it now.
little about RuneScape, and the office had transformed from an awesome, lively place to work to a tense environment where an argument between developers and management could break out at any second.
What?
Jagex and more so RuneScape were heading in a direction that wasn't good. So Ash did something a little risky. He started talking to the players. Secretly. So, back in 2007, Jagex was a much more private company than today. Nobody knew what any of the Jagex moderators looked like, and they didn't have social media accounts where they could be easily reached.
Yep. Some companies still kind of operate this way to this date, guys.
The only chance you'd really have to ever speak with one was through the forums, or if you got lucky and caught them in game. And even then, Jagex...
Right, so there's this one day I caught one of them in game, and I was like kind of scared about what happened, guys, because I saw like, I think it made like a sound whenever some Jmod typed in the chat, guys. I was like so. I was taken aback a little about how much power they had, man. I was like, dang.
had rules on what could be said. So Ash wrote up an article titled Reasons to Hate Jagex and anonymously submitted it to the tip.it RuneScape fan site under the screen name Armadillo. If the tip.it admins liked what he wrote, they would publish it in their newsletter. Lucky for him, they did, and it was soon posted front and center. Now, this article's title makes it sound so much worse than it actually is, but reading it, knowing now that it was by—
Oh man, the way they worded it, the title of it makes me think it's like, you know, satire, guys. You know what I mean? Post on like official fan page like that. It has to be satire. Has to be.
a Jagex moderator, it almost seems like a warning letter to the community, and maybe you'll agree with me. But a bit of backstory first. This article was actually published a little over a month before the update of Ultimate Doom. In the previous year or so, a pretty popular sentiment had popped up within the game's community. Many players had come to the conclusion that Jagex hated them, and as a result, they hated Jagex. Whether it was the latest quest being underwhelming, that they skipped a weekly update or two recently, customer service wasn't—
Bro, I was like 11 years old when this went down, so I'm a little bit too young. Age plays like a pretty big factor in like to everything here.
replying, or of seemingly stupid rules, many players felt that Jagex was out to get them. Even the slightest inconvenience would be seen by some players as an attack on the game they love.
Guys, back then, I bought it's like 94 magic, bro. I was like, dude, I gotta click this many times to get 94 magic. I'm gonna bot this. And I got banned for it for a week.
Or once loved. Mod Ash knew about this sentiment and witnessed it personally all the time.
And that was like one of the worst weeks of my life, man. It was no fun, bro. It was back when RuneScape was the only game I really played, man.
the RuneScape forums rant section. He knew that the update of Ultimate Doom would be 10 times worse than anything players were already complaining about, especially because they wouldn't understand why it was happening. Jagex actually planned on not completely telling the truth when this update launched. Instead of outright telling players credit card fraud was the reason the wilderness and free trade were being removed, they wanted to spin this update as the ultimate bot and real-world trading killer, which, if I'm a player reading about
this is the thing that pissed off so much of the community, bro. It wasn't worth it to do, bro. Straight up.
I'm thinking, if you're trying to kill bots in real-world trade, there's a million other ways to do it besides removing the game's most popular content. Ash knew
bro, they stepped on the players' souls with this one, guys. Just putting that out there, man. They shouldn't have did it.
That a large chunk of players would absolutely lose their minds, and perhaps wanted to get ahead of the curve. So, what did he say in the article? Well, in a recent update, Jagex decided to make a controversial change to shops. They were given unlimited stock.
They called them shops back in the day, guys.
Of whatever items they sold to stop bots who spent all day emptying out shops and flipping what they bought for huge profits on the Grand Exchange. This sounds great, as you'd no longer show up to a shop and not be able to buy what you were after, but it also ruined tons of money-making methods and training methods for legitimate players.
We are living in down bad, guys. We had to get our supplies from shops or make our profit from shops, bro. The cookie clicker extraordinaire, bro. That's what this game is for sure, bro. And it's still kind of fun doing it. It definitely, this is the boredom passer extraordinaire kind of game, bro. That's what it's designed to do, bro. They made sure you're gonna get your hours worth of entertainment with this one.
The more popular botted
if you were to go to the end to like actually complete like the end game kind of style,
were removed from shops entirely. Zaf and the Magic Guild no longer sold battle staffs, charter ship workers no longer sold sand, and so much more. This led a lot of the Jagex hates me crowd to double down on their stance, like they're taking away my training methods to fix their problems, or they're doing silly little updates and not fixing the big problem. Ash would go on to say that sometimes what's best for the game isn't exactly what the players always want. They went ahead with an update that they knew players would be annoyed by in the interest of eradicating bots. Most striking of all, he says,
silly little updates indeed.
Jagex has made it abundantly clear that they're pulling out all the stops to tackle the problem, despite the cost to themselves. Knowing now that the update of Ultimate Doom would launch less than 2 months later, I almost see this article as Mod Ash trying to explain ahead of time that
should have been Jagex hates their players with the update they were rolling out, man. That one hurt when it happened, bro. The update rolled out when I was actually a peak wilderness enjoyer, bro. It's like the only reason I played the game. Thankfully, they actually made a little bit of its actual, like, you know, still PvP, because it would have been angry. I would have been down angry if it wasn't.
The update wasn't because Jagex hates their players, even if the players would hate the update. Now, based on the article's title, I'm sure you were expecting something much more dramatic and less pro-Jagex, but we're not quite there yet. When the update of Ultimate Doom launched, Ash published a similar article explaining why it had happened. In the article, and over his next few articles, Ash would take on a sort of RuneScape dad role. He would reassure players that the game wasn't going anywhere, promising cool updates are on the way, and the update of Ultimate Doom wasn't because Jagex hates you.
It's almost like they knew it was going to be a temporary thing, guys. Let us battle each other.
But I think the longer Ash wrote these articles, the more bold he would become. In his final article, the focus wasn't on explaining Jagex's actions, but instead about what they were doing wrong. We're not quite to that article yet though, so we all know the botting problem on RuneScape is bad. There's good years, but no matter what, there's always a group of people making money.
There's people that have been a career botter, bro.
money by not playing the game. Even after the update of Ultimate Doom, botting still did exist, albeit at a much smaller scale. Ash decided to write an article about Chinese gold farmers, as at the time, they did statistically make up the bulk of people who botted. He was especially proud of this article, and even had his mother read it. After doing so, she said,
"It was very well written, darling, but is it about pornography?"
So, yeah. Ash's mom wasn't exactly as familiar.
What? He straight up guessed it being about that, guys? Wow. Okay.
With the internet as the rest of us, and thought bot was short for bottom. And this big problem that Jagex was having all these years was that Chinese players wouldn't stop showing their bottoms to others in game. But if you think that's awesome, I have to show you some of Ash's forum posts. Most were just helping out confused players or explaining why Jagex does certain things, but there is some absolute gold in here. So Jagex was doing a revamping of a lot of the game's dungeons, and a player on the tip.it forums was unsure of which ones were being changed. So Ash, aka Armadillo, responded to him with a list from the RuneScape's
Guys, they might still be doing stuff like this. The world may never know.
forums posted by a Jagex moderator. He goes on to mention that the moderator posted the list at 3:45 a.m. in the UK, which he says is a bit sad, but it turns out he's the moderator in question. He was the one who posted the list to the forums at nearly 4 in the morning. In another post about the
He still might be that dedicated. If he answers every single RuneScape related, or actually just Twitter related question, I think he's still that dedicated, fam.
discussion of bugs, Ash posts that he loves seeing all the weird different bugs that get discovered. He even has a big folder full of screenshots of bugs that I haven't even heard of. Someone asks if Ash can post them, and he says he was playing RuneScape at work at the time, so they're all locked up on his work computer. Now, perhaps the most interesting forum post of all is him criticizing his own update, Clan Wars. He says that the update could have been so much better. It has no features, no ability.
He's breaking the fourth wall as a developer. Okay, that's cool.
To choose arenas, tons of the scenery gets in the way, and there's no rules you can change to allow customization. He understands Jagex needing to replace the wilderness with something that doesn't lead to real-world trade, but he hates how it was done with Clan Wars. But you might be thinking, if he thought it sucked so much, why didn't he just make it better when he was making it? It was his project after all.
Yeah, why doesn't he make it better in a day when it takes months and months? Who would've knew?
Well, much like Revenants, Ash was given almost no time to develop Clan Wars. Once the basic features worked, it was considered good enough for launch, and Ash wouldn't be given more time to add what he wanted. This leads us right into the final article I've been teasing.
Not months and months, it takes years and years to develop something like this, fam.
Making our own entertainment. Ash had seemingly cracked the code on why the update of Ultimate Doom was so hated. It removed the player's ability to play how they wanted, and was instead replaced with a rigid, inflexible system. Think about it like this.
Never bring it back.
Before the update, you could go out and have a war with your clan in the
Never bring it back, guys!
The wilderness. If you died, you didn't have to wait for a mini-game timer to end. You could just gear back up and run right back in. Or, let's say you're close to death. You could loot food from nearby dead players and keep fighting. Clan Wars didn't have options like that. You either played it the way Jagex made it, or not at all. The same thing could be said with trading. Before, you could trade anything of value between accounts. Now you had a very specific system to trade, or you couldn't trade at all. You could no longer start your own army of players in all bronze and give out free sets to members. Player-driven gameplay is one of the best parts of an MMO, and Jagex was slowly but surely stamping it all out, and Ash was not happy about it one
Yeah, even he knew it shouldn't be in the game, guys.
bit. Now, it seems this article actually really resonated for both players and Jagex staff, because not long after, Ash actually got to do exactly what he wanted to do to Clan Wars. He got to add features like being able to run back in, selecting how many kills are needed for victory, a lose items on death option for high stakes battles, a free-for-all arena, and so much more.
Let's go, let's go.
But I said earlier that this would be Ash's final article, so what made him stop, especially when this one was so effective? Well, it wasn't exactly his choice. Tip.it was making some big changes to their newsletter. They wanted to have a regular rotation of bloggers, rather than just accepting articles from random community members. Ash was actually invited to be one of these regular bloggers, but due to a lack of time, he declined.
You didn't want to pick up another extra job, guys, and I commend him for doing that. Ain't nobody trying to pick up some unpaid work around here, fam.
Fast forwarding a bit, eventually Ash did decide to reveal to Jagex that he was Armadillo.
No!
He had a performance review
In a shocking turn of events.
meeting coming up, and his regular manager was going to be unavailable, so a lady from HR would be running the meeting instead. During the meeting, he discussed all the amazing updates he made to Clan Wars. He mentioned that he'd sourced the ideas from clans who had read his Armadillo blog post, Making Our Own Entertainment. The HR lady glared at Ash.
And then everybody just the whole room gasps. It was you all along, no.
Ash when she learned this and said, "You realize I'm going to write this down, don't you?" Ash responded by saying he was proud of it. He had spent hours upon hours of his own personal time engaging with the game's customers to help make a better update. She glared at him again and wrote it down on his review, but luckily nothing ever came of it. It seems that Ash's approach of speaking directly to the players was the right thing to do. He was just ahead of his time. Just a few years later, the new CEO, Mark Gerhard, realized how powerful social media could be for the game. Seemingly, every JMod would sign up for their own Twitter accounts to interact with the game's community, including Ash.
Yay.
Although he took a bit of convincing from ModReach before signing up, he's since posted almost 500,000 tweets. Or X's? I don't know what's going on with that site. Nearly every single tweet is Ash answering a player's question, no matter how dumb some may be. So, thank you, ModAsh, for going above and beyond for the game and its players. Next year will mark 2 decades of employment at Jagex, and I know RuneScape would like how the game
2 decades of employment, guys. Sheesh. Alright, guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, press the join button. Check out Colonel in the description. And I'll see you guys next one, guys. Yeah, we can make a whole video about how he has 500k Twitter replies. Honestly. Later, guys. See you next one.